What's up, guys? This is Bolvar the Fell-Handed. Today I am in the Batchat 25T. This footage was recorded yesterday. First time in a tier 10 in a little while. I ended up getting rid of the rest of my Batchat footage. Said, let's get some new stuff in here. And this was my first game that I had played in a while in this tank. I'm starting to explore other tiers. I used to run 10s non-stop. Now I've started running some different things. So, this is Corellia. Now, I am pushing what I consider the most important part of this particular map, which is the hill. You need to get up here very quickly early on. You need to get eyes on the scene, see what's going on. The more intelligence your team has as a whole, the better off you will be. By intelligence, I mean tanks located, tanks spotted, things of that nature. If you give your team the ability to shoot targets, it will help overall. Obviously, of course, the greens would have to participate. But as you remember, my constant viewer, I say that greens are to be trusted to be greens only, meaning they will do what is good for them. If they have easy shots, they will take them, most likely. So, just throwing that out there. Sometimes you run out there to spot, and no one shoots anything. So just be aware of that. We auto-lock a shot there, and it goes south, and I am auto-locking right now, and I am firing into the side of a soft-skin target. Both of those guys soft-skin targets. That's why there was not really much particular aiming when it's 75 to 50 meters, somewhere around there, and it's a thin-skin target. I haven't been moving a lot. I'm pretty confident that I can connect with them, so there wasn't really a whole lot of use to scope in. It does have its uses. Now, perhaps if an IS-7 was up there, E100, something like that, E5, well, maybe not an E5 because they have particularly thin side armor, but you get the picture. Now, I will tell you at this time, I do make one mistake in this game, what I consider a mistake, and it is unfortunately fatal. We will go over that as the game progresses. Now, the situation before you, you have a few tanks directly to my 12 o'clock where the turret is currently pointed, TVP being one of them. I believe there's an E75 over there as well, and of course your numerous reds camping behind them, normally in the B5, B6 area. And guys, in this tank, in a very fast medium, you always have to be aware of the tanks that are going to be camping behind the front line. I know a lot of people get excited in a very fast medium and they think they need to utilize that speed all the time, but just keep in mind it's exactly like the Batchat's clip. You don't utilize it all the time. Most of the things that I do are just one shot at a time, because at this tier no one's really foolish enough to make a large mistake. In other words, pull extremely far out of cover to where I can melt them. So you just have to keep that in mind. And much like the Batchat's clip, you don't have to utilize your speed non-stop. You don't have to zoom around the map. You don't always have to be trying to flank. You have to think where the enemy is. You have to prepare yourself mentally and say, okay, these locations is where the normal push is going to be, the normal areas of contention. What's the second line look like? Where are the TDs at? How many tanks do we have lit up on the map? How many tanks have I seen? Okay, where are these other tanks that I don't know where they're at? Where are their most likely locations? You can say, okay, sure, there's going to be some around the corner there at G7, G8, excuse me, G9, pushing the side of the hill. But there's also some guys in the mid. You just have to constantly be running the numbers here. Moving on. So, I took a few rounds there, and that's fine. I ended up putting in some damage, and I'm going to go over here and finish off this STB. And he is in a very poor position. I think he knows that. There wasn't a lot of fight there. Instantly go ahead and reload the clip. I'm not currently engaged, so by that rationale we went ahead and dumped the clip, because before I get in a good position I will be reloaded. Now if you look at the top of the screen, you can tell we are losing pretty good. There's not a whole lot I can do about that. I am kind of a low health. I'm not extremely low health, but the Bat Chat doesn't necessarily have a lot to trade to begin with. So I'm being very cautious. I'm trying to get my team to light the targets up instead of myself, and the reason for that is the way the team is positioned right now is no one is in an excellent spot to give me proper cover. In other words, if I push out directly to 12 o'clock where my hull is pointed and go out there and spot targets, probably the Jagdpanzer here to my right is going to get shots, and that's it. And he may not even get shots because he may not even be in the proper position. So it's risk versus reward. That's exactly what it boils down to. Am I going to get a good ROI on possibly risking 7 of my health, a return on investment? And it doesn't even boil down to trading, because you don't want to think like that. You don't want to start out and say, you know what, I'll go out here, I'll take a few rounds, and that'll be that, and I'll get some guys spotted. You don't want to entertain that thought. And the reason is, if you're trading, you're losing, if that makes sense. Whenever you trade, you're losing. You don't need to consider it taking away the enemy's HP. You need to consider it losing your HP. And that's more of a winning mentality, I guess is what I would say. So just consider that whenever you are trading. You are losing. You need to get out of that situation, and you need to reposition and put yourself in a better area. Moving on. Now, we still haven't quite evened it up yet. We're still a few tanks down, and I am lining up some shots here. I'm going to see if I just can't put a few in this guy. I kind of flubbed a few shots there. I tried to go for the tracks. I hit the tracks, but it didn't connect properly. It just kind of hit his tracks and continued on. So now we're on a reload, and it seems like every time I reload, some of the teammates die. so you know, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. Now, guys, my plan was to drop down and run the mid and then come up behind them at my cap, our cap. What I should have done was swing wide, go towards their cap, and do a large hook. Possibly even attempted to cap it out. Instead, I assumed, foolishly, everyone would be in their cap area, in our cap area, excuse me, or headed towards it. And I was wrong, because this tank destroyer was in fact on the back line here. I try to pull up here and put a few rounds on him, and he ends up killing me. But yes, if I came around behind him, it is possible I could have gotten a track shot at distance, kept him tracked, and then went from there. So this is, like I said previously in my TikTok video, you have to take ownership of your mistakes. Yes, it was my fault. I'm the one that put myself in that position. I am the reason I died. It's wrong to blame the greens, because the greens are going to be the greens. They're going to do what is in their own best interest, and unfortunately you are not normally part of that equation. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to be someone who rages and gets upset at the team when the team didn't put you in the particular area you were in. And I'm sure the team from time to time takes the blame, but I find it's best to kind of look inward and figure out, hey, what can I do to make sure we succeed next time, if that makes sense. At any rate, we had a fairly decent game for our first game in the bat in a while. We almost did 5,000 damage combined, which is pretty good. We did quite a bit. We could have done more. Granted, do I think we would have clutched it out? No. But we did do well. And that's honestly all you can ask. Every game, it can't be Shakespeare. It's not going to be amazing. Some games are just going to be okay. And, this, unfortunately, is one of them. And that's fine. We don't have to do 8,000 damage every single game. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it.